YouTube was down with it. So look, I've been thinking like about this thing called spirit farming. Like I kind of got it from peeping some stuff like as far as people praying for other people, and like you never know what that's about, like what are their true intentions when they're doing that. Like a random person just comes up to you and wants to start praying for you, and like you don't really understand why they doing it, and it's kind of like an underlying reason as to why they doing it that might not actually be beneficial for you. You gotta watch words because they're spells. So when people are like doing spiritual things in your presence and kind of like saying it's for you, you kind of gotta be wary about that. Like you want to think it's a nice gesture because in past days it might have been a nice gesture, but there's so many wicked practices now that you have to be very careful with who you let pray over you. And that goes for even if you go to church. Like find out who that person is, and you know understand like why is this person praying for me, why should I let this person pray for me. So it's like it's just one of them things that you got to be careful with out here, because physical harm is one thing, emotional harm, mental harm, but like we got to really think about like the spiritual harm in that too, because the spiritual harm, that could be like the worst thing ever for you actually. You know what I mean? That might be worse than physical, honestly, because that's gonna carry on with you forever. Your spirit carries on forever. So that's kind of one of those things that you got to be wary about and protect. You got to protect that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but like I think they got a lot of spirit farmers out here because I don't know. You just got to peep game when somebody prays for somebody else. They're kind of doing it for selfish reasons most of the time. It's something selfish involved. It's not really selfless. There are selfless people out here that would actually feel for a stranger, but a lot of people aren't feeling these days for anybody. They only feel for themselves. You know, what they got going on is ultimately it. They don't really like look outside of themselves at times and really reflect on different people, like understanding living things as a whole. Like the smallest thing, like an ant. You know what I mean? Like that thing has the biggest impact. Like you might think that small little thing has no impact on the planet, but it has a huge impact on the planet. Like it has a huge impact. So it just goes to show like the smallest things can have the largest impact. So you gotta be careful with your spirit and like understand that if it's not watering it, it's hurting it. And you don't want anybody taking you to hell with them. Like you don't want whatever they got going on to like introduce itself into your life, because they can be transferring energy to you in the spirit forming process. It's kind of like swapping it out for something more pure. you know they feed off of that pure energy, but they're just gonna dilute it, and you're gonna be left with the nasty stuff, the toxic stuff that you gotta get rid of and purify all over again. So it's not even worth it. It's not even worth the hazards. It's cool to be like cool with people and hope like they really have the best outlook on life and all of these things, but you really got to be careful these days because you never know who that person is that's praying over you. They might be PREYING over you, and you got to watch that. So yeah, y'all, I just wanted to run that with y'all. I'll probably hop back on here holla at y'all again. You heard me? Yeah. Later. Peace and love.